Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. How weird is this that we are in court today? Some very, very interesting and updated news. I've been watching this morning and we have a verdict come in. I have goosies all over. It says court will begin in 15 minutes at 11 a.m. We have law enforcement at the courthouse this morning. We also have Kay and Larry there, it looks like. And we have been updated by East Idaho News, Caitlin Hart, which is kind of funny because she had a little message there saying she had a very nutritious and fulfilling Kit Kat bar for breakfast as breakfast of champions. And I'll see you that, Caitlin. I'm also eating sea salted chocolate because this is stressful. Welcome, everyone. We have a verdict. So bear with me for a minute as I chew on my chocolate. I'm sorry. Also, I just want to update the thumbnail so people know what the heck is going on because we all don't know. And I want to make sure I have that for everybody. So I'm just going to take a moment and just update it. Talk amongst yourselves with some coffee talk. Ooh, my heart's beating again. Faster, faster. What do you guys think? I feel like the death penalty's coming on this guy. What do you think? Whew. Is your heart getting faster? Come on, update, update. Everybody's probably wondering, why do we have court today? It's Saturday. Come on. Oh, this is taking so long. Liz says, thanks for the update. Just dropped in. Appreciate that and all you do. Welcome. Thank you. We have a verdict. So we're in 12 minutes. We're going to be hearing what's going to happen. Why is this taking so darn long? Just checking to see if Charles is behind me. Charles, hurry it up. Help us out. Can you guys check for me to see? Actually, maybe I'll just do it on here. I just want to see if it changed the title because for some reason it's taking a long time to. Yeah, it didn't yet. So we have 11 minutes until verdict. If you're just coming in, welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm just updating the thumbnail and title if it'll ever do it. And it's taking a bit. I don't know why. Of all days for YouTube to act up, it wouldn't. I don't want it to be today. So we're going to put the little window there so we can make sure that we're all up to date. People are starting to pile in. Good morning. So glad you guys are here. My heart is racing. And I'm just going to change the thumbnail finally. Life of a YouTuber. Trying to figure it out all the time. Why isn't this working? There we go. There, that should work. The thumbnail's done. Whew. Liz says, this case has been so excruciatingly painful that poor family and all the people that have lost their lives at the hands of monsters. But justice will be delivered. It truly will be. I think so too. You know, I remember way back last year before Lori's trial, they were trying so hard to keep the trial together. And I remember thinking, wow, how many months the families have to give up to seek justice. But double duty, you know what I mean? You have to go through trauma already, then trauma of trial, and then trauma again of repeating that process, and then trauma again for Charles. This all has to be taken in account, you know? Now I'm going to, I don't know if I have to slow the chat yet, but we'll see. We have 8 minutes. They should be coming back. Oh my gosh. It's a whirlwind. But I'm so glad that I was checking every minute this morning and going, okay, I think things are happening. Things are amping up. Let's get into it. And I'm glad I could do it today with you too, because I had a little bit of withdrawals from seeing you guys. Tammy's family is now upstairs waiting outside the courtroom. Hearing now that court will start at 11:15 a.m. So 40 seconds ago, Caitlin said hearing is at 11:15. So we have a little bit of time to gather ourselves. Bring on Judge Boyce. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. Welcome to new member as well. And Barb, finally justice for all and the raccoon named Rocky. Rocky the raccoon. He does deserve justice as well. Nobody puts Rocky in the corner. I know, my stomach is somersaulting as well. Poppy says, hi, Linda. Hope it's death penalty. Whether he gets needle or not, no family or other cons contact will kill him. Oh, I see what you're saying with like, okay. Thank you. We'll see. I really do feel he's going to get it. I felt that for a little bit now. You guys feel that too? I feel it. Do I think he'll show emotion today? I think he only, I don't know. I don't know. But you can't kill an exalted being. So he should have nothing to worry about. Right? Now, okay, just double checking everything. I need a producer to be like headphones on and helping me out in the back. It's just the little things. Oh, it's going to be red tie day. He wore red tie day yesterday, though, right? He might still find his lucky tie. Sentencing, he'll wear his. Will they? So, hang on. Wednesday, he wore a red tie. Yesterday, he wore a red tie. The day before, he wore a yellow tie. I still think he's going to wear a red tie because that's his important day. I think so. People say no tie, prison guard, but yesterday was also tie day. So I don't think he will yet. We'll see. Barb says, I can't wait to hear from the jury. So curious. I know. It's going to happen. Sorry about the typos. Thumbs as disabled veteran. No problem. Thank you, Poppy. It's okay. I like that you have a little raccoon with a shovel. Oh. Allison says, I've been working every day and this is the first time I've caught alive this whole trial. I've enjoyed watching the replays. Thank you for the coverage. Well, thank you. Thanks for being here. I'm glad you're able to be here, live. That's fun. It's not going to be fun what's going to happen next, but it's fun to be together. Thanks, Pearl. Thank you. Now let's check in. Who else do we have in the courtroom? So we have about 17 minutes. And you know what? I should probably put this link in the community tab because I still have people going, Linda, we don't have notifications. Wonder what Judge Boyce is going to say because, ooh, buddy, you're in trouble. And not the good kind of buddy. Okay, verdict is in on the community tab. Okay, I'm going to post that. Thanks for enjoying the ASMR of typing this morning. I am now an ASMR also channel. Oh. Okay, there. That's posted. Done. Check it off the list. Thank you for being here, everyone. Welcome to the new members. Sarah, hello. This is Chad Daybell. Like a ballpark figure, and we're going to knock it out of the park. How's that ballpark figure, Chad? Lacey says, thank you so much for getting me through this very long ideal. May justice be served for JJ, Tylee, Tammy, and Charles. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. And we're going to see this through. You guys are helping me too get through this. 11:15 reading. Thank you. So we have 15 more minutes. Whew, my stomach. Sugar Spring, thank you. Okay. How you guys doing? Give a little bit of like. Give some love. Let's give some love. And what else do I need to do? I updated. One day I'll get all my social media figured out. Oh, yes, the banner. Let's get the banner done across the bottom. That's important too. The verdict is in DP or life. Will he be wearing the murderous tie this morning? Again. Tom says, running late, justice for all victims and family. You are actually on time because we have 14 more minutes. And a little chit chat together. Marianne says, hey, Linda, watching from the UK. Hope he gets DP. I wish he was set alight so he can feel how Tylee felt. Yeah, and reduced to a bucket. Woosah, woosah. Now, I got my paper. I have my pen. I think we're good. We have Jada here. This little girl cost me $316 yesterday, but she's better now. Say hi, Jada. Say hi. And there's Charles. So we're waiting. Let's just double check on everything. There we go. And we're going to check in with Caitlin. Still, that is just starting at 11:15. Jen says, so glad to be with you all. Tried another chat and felt lost. Thank you. It's just not the same. We got to be together. We have to be together. Good morning. I'm so excited getting your notification. Woo! I've been checking all morning too and was not having fun on other live channels. It was no fun. Okay, we got to just stick together. Okay, Jada, you're going to have to go. I got to get the cat out. Otherwise, she's going to be crawling all over me. Okay, here we go. Let's start again. Oh, yeah, and I have coffee. So that's winning. Did I have fun last night? I went out for a couple hours and made some new friends. Life in prison is worse than execution. I hope he's in jail clothes. Love this channel. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. My heart is going faster. It's 3 a.m. here and I can't sleep. Well, we have just a little bit longer, 11 more minutes, and we're going to figure it out. Yeah, so some people are still, I can see, I'm getting notifications saying 15 minutes, Linda. It's like, I'm already live streaming. So I'm just going to be sure to give them the new link. If this is going to show up. Please hold. If you have a moment and you can share this out, I'd be very, very grateful. That'll help. And we all can watch it together. And other people may get a notification and that kind of thing. Well, notified that way, I guess. So sharing is caring. And please give a like too as well. I see we have 2,700 in here currently, and we have 992 likes. So if you can, just give a moment. It shares the love. And then I'm just going to answer some people to make sure they get in here because they don't know. There, we're all working together. I love that. Hubba Bubba Red. Now, for those of you who don't know, we were talking about Big Bubba in jail to see Chad, or in prison to see Chad, and that we should donate to Hubba Bubba's commissary fund. Man, 4 years. Okay, so it's June 1st today, so it'll be 4 years on the 9th since the children were found on his property. JJ's birthday was last Saturday. And I believe Tammy's wasn't long ago as well, if I remember correctly. I have been invested in this case from the start when Nate was in Hawaii. When I saw Nate, I was like, who is this guy? Matt and Regan watching this morning live from Ground Zero. Hello, Matt. Hi, Regan. Nice to see you. Regan, you did amazing on the stand. And I commend you for having to look at John and deal with him. I was like, don't you talk about Regan. I do have sage, Sarah. I do. I don't have snacks. I just have coffee and I have some chocolate. So breakfast is champions, apparently. I've drank more coffee than I have in my entire life during this trial because I don't typically drink coffee. Please put your DNA on that like button. My cat Quinn ate carpet that cost me over oh my gosh. Well, we're at $750 in 3 weeks for my cat, but we're just gonna woosah it out. Woosah. And hopefully she's okay now. She's been acting weird too, so she's okay. Linda, your collaboration with Annie and Beautiful Nora was fabulous. I'm glad you like it. You saw it. That was a few years ago at around Christmas. And let me see if I could get that for you guys if you haven't watched it. Now, you're going to have to brush up on Charles Vallow series and Brandon Boudreau because that's coming up too. Thank you, Diane. That's so sweet of you. Thank you so much. Oh, that's funny. Wonder if he's gonna say, Bubba's gonna say, Chad, you know, I have a feeling we've been in multiple probations before. Right back at you, karma, Chad, for telling Lori that you've been married 5 times before. It's like, did I used to be a cheerleader? No. Although I did play, what was the name? You know South Pacific, the musical? I had a little bit of a lieutenant. I can't remember her name. What the heck was her name? I don't remember. That's what happens in my 40s. I don't remember. Let's hope Mado gets mashed by Bubba's coming storm. Oh, I'm so nervous. We have 5 more minutes. And you know what? What's there to be nervous before? We know he's guilty. We just need to know what it is, but I'm still like at the seat of my pants going, "Oh my gosh." Yes, thank God you're here too. This is a good day. This is a good day for the families, you know? Victim impact statements were yesterday. Yes, if you haven't seen that, check my live stream yesterday. But make sure you bring some Kleenex. That's all I have to say. Bring some Kleenex. Kathy says, I'm so spoiled by your trial coverage. Well, here we go. We're going to do more trials. We'll do it together. I love it. Yes, decision is in. Ooh, I got chills. I got tingles. We'll still keep up on live streams, but I'll plan them. They might have to rotate a little bit just because I have, my little boy and stuff. So we have to rotate some things. But we'll still do live streams. I'm still going to I got to go back into the videos because, I got a deep dive. I'm a little bit withdrawals on that. Ooh, it's June 1st, 11/11 right now. How are those numbers, Chad? Thank you, Kim. So sweet, you guys. Oh, it's just a forever, Roberta says, thank you so much for your coverage. Love your humor and expert coverage. You're the absolute best. You guys are so sweet. I love you. Yes, I know. I love you too. You guys are stuck with me too. Linda says, other chats have people that are so vicious and vindictive. Much better here. I've been with you since before you celebrated 10,000 subs. Look at that. You're the OG. Shelby asked, do y'all think he wants the death penalty? Good question. Michelle says, I hope death penalty because he needs to spend the rest of his life in solitary, no contact with others, locked up 23 hours a day. Shelby's bringing it. Come to Big Bubba, big boy. Bubba likes to go to the storm. Oh, thank you guys so much for all your humor. I had a chat with a girlfriend and we were talking because she's brilliant at quite a few things in general, but also in business. And she said, I'd love to help you, Linda, but I can't, I won't be able to handle all the information of death. And I said, well, you know what? It takes a certain way to compartmentalize and to be able to dive into it, but also be okay mentally. And I thought I couldn't handle, well, I knew I couldn't handle when I first started this because I was realizing what did I get myself into in terms of all the information, especially with Gannon Stout and then with these kids and all these details. And it's so upsetting. But I see how first responders and others need to have like a weird sense of humor about it. And I did learn that a little bit off my ex-husband. And I was already, I like to joke and have humor, but he brought more of that out in me. So now there's a balance. So if I get goofy in here sometimes, or, that we do that, at least we're joking, but we know also when to take it serious. So, and the families like that too, even, I've seen Kay before make jokes too about Lori and Larry doing memes, and so it's just a way to deal with some of it. I don't think I could continue doing this if I only watched or saw the gruesome details. I definitely wouldn't be able to handle it. So I appreciate you guys and being able to joke around too, that we have a little bit of a reprieve from the really dark stuff. Thanks for providing live coverage and commentary. Most were just streaming. Have enjoyed your knowledge and humor. Thank you. Well, you know me, I like to connect the dots, right? And then we get the details. And I always say the truth is in the details. We are at 11:15. Please don't be too late today. Let's check in with Caitlin from East Idaho News. Chad Daybell has entered the courtroom. He's wearing a blue shirt and blue tie. Oh, it's blue today. Blue for boo-hoo. I guess he didn't want to wear his red one yesterday because it wasn't so lucky. Chad is about to be somebody's goddess lover. Hubba Bubba loves you. Thank you, Diane, and thank you, Jen. I never comment, but I appreciate your content and vibe on this channel. Thank you. Thanks, Alice. Thank you so much. Thanks for the super chat to all of you guys. Thank you. And thanks for being here. There's 3,645 friends here today. Okay, you got in. Good. I was just like, oh no. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you for liking. Whew. I can't wait to hear Judge Boyce admonish Chad. Let's hear it. Let's get into it. You know it's going to be good. He gave Lori a tongue lashing last year. And then I was like, I wasn't too sure he had it in him. And then remember in this trial, I think when was it? It was during jury selection. We had that rando lawyer come in, and I never saw Judge Boyce so angry. He was so angry. And he was even like, oh yeah, you think you wasted your time, hey? So good. You got to see that I did a video on that. It was so good. Ken, we have a verdict. So the judge opened the court today. We got to double check, make sure the stream is all good. Yes. Would be great if 100% hit the like. It would. It would. I know, Erin. It's so weird, right? It's like, what do I do with myself? Linda, usually when you acknowledge Charles' photo, there's a weird noise or light flicker. It didn't happen this time. It's so weird. In the beginning, I used to get zipper sounds. When I edited, I was like, what's the zipper sound? Only when I talked about Charles. But I say hi to him now when he comes up. A life sentence is nothing for a lifer. The compound is a city to them. Death row, they are locked up 23 hours a day. Retired correctional officer. Love that, Rhonda. Well, there you go. I'm committed. May 4th. There we go for Tammy. So Tammy and yeah. I'm a little behind. I'm trying to read all the comments. So we have Chad waiting. So now we're probably just any second. Colby Ryan, Tammy's family, and Larry and Kay Woodcock are in the courtroom. Chad Daybell's children are not there. Yesterday, when I heard Colby Ryan go, I'm motherless, fatherless, brotherless, and sisterless. It's just like, I can't handle it. Every single person up there who gave their victim impact statements yesterday, it was so powerful. And there was the underlying theme of Chad Daybell's children not talking to any of the Douglas family, Tammy's family. What the actual F? Verdict is 5 minutes late. Abba Baba Commissary Fund. I wanted to do a shirt on it, just like it's a crime. Let's get into it. Oh, I don't know. Dark humor is okay as a veteran combat medic. It's normal. Yeah, I learned a lot. The only thing is I remember my ex-husband's partner when I was pregnant. He was like, "Yeah, just call us when you're in labor." I was like, "Yeah, no, I'll drive my."
Session with Stephen W. Boyce, Judge presiding.
Okay.
Thank you. Please be seated. All right. Good morning, everyone. We're on the record on case CR 2221-1623, State of Idaho versus Chad Guy Daybell. This is the special sentencing proceeding that has been conducted last couple of days. The jury's been deliberating. The court is advised that the jury has reached a verdict on the special sentencing proceeding and the special verdict form. I'll note the state's present with the 4 prosecutors who've tried the case, Mr. Pryor and his client, Mr. Daybell, present as well. I'll also note there's a courtroom conduct order in effect. I'd appreciate everyone complying with that, as you all have throughout this trial. I will note on the record before we get to the verdict that we did have a jury question yesterday that the court answered, and I've provided the question and copies of the answer to counsel. In addition, a second question came in today. I did go on the record with that question and answer with counsel and the defendant present, returned that response to the jurors. They've now reached a verdict in the case, so the court is going to have the jurors brought in and have the verdict delivered for reading.
It's just silent for a minute. No worries. Just hang on.
All right, please. Jury's all present. Count for Your Honor.
Thank you. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court understands you've reached a verdict on the special verdict form. Is that correct? All right, Mr. Bailiff, if you would please return the special verdict form to the court, I'll review that. Ladies and gentlemen, the verdict form is somewhat long and complicated. The court is going to take a moment to review the form.
So the judge is just reviewing the form. If anybody's wondering why it's quiet, I'll fill in the awkward silence. We're talking in chat to see if Chad's wearing some extra protection today. He looks a little more slumpy and his hands are in his lap. But yet his chin's held high as per normal. As per
All right, the
usual.
court's reviewed the special verdict form. I do find it's been properly filled out by the jury foreperson as well as correctly signed and dated. At this time, I am going to request, Madam Clerk, Ms. Holstein, if you would please read the special verdict form. If you'd like to remain seated or standing, it's a long form and will take some time to read, but however is most comfortable for you, Madam Clerk, you may go ahead and read the special verdict form into the record.
In the District Court of the 7th Judicial District of the State of Idaho, in and for the County of Fremont, State of Idaho Plaintiff versus Chad Guy Daybell Defendant, case number CR 22211623, Special Verdict. Part 1. We, the jury, render the following verdict on the alleged statutory aggravating circumstances. 1. Has the jury unanimously found that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the following aggravating circumstance? The murder of Tylee Ryan was committed for remuneration, or the defendant employed another to commit the murder for remuneration or the promise of remuneration? Yes. 2. Has the jury unanimously found that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the following aggravating circumstance? The murder of Joshua Jackson, hereinafter J.J. Vallow, was committed for remuneration, or the defendant employed another to commit the murder for remuneration or the promise of remuneration? Yes. 3. Has the jury unanimously found that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the following aggravating circumstance? The murder of Tamra, hereinafter Tammy Daybell, was committed for remuneration, or the defendant employed another to commit the murder for remuneration or the promise of remuneration? Yes. 4. Has the jury unanimously found that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the following aggravating circumstance? The murder of Tylee Ryan was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel, manifesting exceptional depravity? Yes. 5. has the jury unanimously found that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the following aggravating circumstance? The murder of J.J. Vallow was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel, manifesting exceptional depravity. Yes. 6. Has the jury unanimously found that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the following aggravating circumstance? The murder of Tammy Daybell was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel, manifesting exceptional depravity. Yes. 7. Has the jury unanimously found that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the following aggravating circumstance? By the murders or circumstances surrounding their commission, the defendant exhibited utter disregard for human life. Yes. 8. Has the jury unanimously found that the state has proven beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the following aggravating circumstance? The defendant, by his conduct, whether such conduct was before, during, or after the commission of the murders at hand, has exhibited a propensity to commit murder, which will probably constitute a continuing threat to society. Yes. If you answered no to each of the above questions, you do not need to answer any other questions. Simply have the presiding juror sign this verdict form and notify the bailiff that you are done. If you answered yes to any of the above questions, then please answer the questions in part 2. Part 2. We, the jury, render the following verdict on the weighing of all mitigating circumstances against the statutory aggravating circumstances. You are to only answer the following questions for those statutory aggravating circumstances for which you answered yes in part 1. 1. With respect to the statutory aggravating circumstance that the murder of Tylee Ryan was committed for remuneration, or the defendant employed another to commit the murder for remuneration or the promise of remuneration, we unanimously find that when weighed against this aggravating circumstance, all mitigating circumstances are not sufficiently compelling to make imposition of the death penalty unjust. 2. With respect to the statutory aggravating circumstance that the murder of Joshua Jackson, hereinafter J.J. Vallow, was committed for remuneration, or the defendant employed another to commit the murder for remuneration or the promise of remuneration, we unanimously find that when weighed against this aggravating circumstance, all mitigating circumstances are not sufficiently compelling to make imposition of the death penalty unjust. 3. With respect to the statutory aggravating circumstance that the murder of Tamara, hereinafter Tammy Daybell, was committed for remuneration, or the defendant employed another to commit the murder for remuneration or the promise of remuneration, we unanimously find that when weighed against this aggravating circumstance, all mitigating circumstances are not sufficiently compelling to make imposition of the death penalty unjust. 4. With respect to the statutory aggravating circumstance that the murder of Tylee Ryan was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel, manifesting exceptional depravity, we unanimously find that when weighed against this aggravating circumstance, all mitigating circumstances are not sufficiently compelling to make imposition of the death penalty unjust. 5. With respect to
Did we lose the mic?
It's back. 5. With respect to the statutory aggravating circumstance that the murder of J.J. Vallow was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel, manifesting exceptional depravity, we unanimously find that when weighed against this aggravating circumstance, all mitigating circumstances.
Do we need a new mic? Okay, we're going to get a separate mic. Thank you.
I'll read 5 over.
Yes, start with 5 again. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
5. Okay. With respect to the statutory aggravating circumstance that the murder of J.J. Vallow was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel, manifesting exceptional depravity, we unanimously find that when weighed against this aggravating circumstance, all mitigating circumstances are not sufficiently compelling to make imposition of the death penalty unjust. 6, with respect to the statutory aggravating circumstance that the murder of Tammy Daybell was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel, manifesting exceptional depravity, we unanimously find that when weighed against this aggravating circumstance, all mitigating circumstances are not sufficiently compelling to make imposition of the death penalty unjust. 7, with respect to the statutory aggravating circumstance that by the murders or circumstances surrounding their commission, the defendant exhibited utter disregard for human life. We unanimously find that when weighed against this aggravating circumstance, all mitigating circumstances are not sufficiently compelling to make imposition of the death penalty unjust. 8, with respect to the statutory aggravating circumstance that the defendant, by his conduct, whether such conduct was before, during, or after the commission of the murders at hand, has exhibited a propensity to commit murder, which will probably constitute a continuing threat to society. We unanimously find that when weighed against this aggravating circumstance, all mitigating circumstances are not sufficiently compelling to make imposition of the death penalty unjust. Once you have completed part 2, please have the presiding juror sign this verdict form and notify the bail if you are done. Dated this first day of June 2024 and signed by the presiding juror.
All right, thank you very much, Madam Clerk, for reading through the verdict form. Ladies and gentlemen, the court will note that given the complexity of this special verdict form, just I think in fairness to all those in attendance, including in particular victims and the parties, the layman's explanation of this verdict is that the jury has made a finding that it would be appropriate to impose the death penalty as it relates to counts 1 through 6 in the amended indictment. And so pursuant to Idaho Code 192515, the court is directed that the defendant would be sentenced to death on those counts. The court will take up a concluding sentencing proceeding. I also have additional counts of insurance fraud. I've discussed with counsel moving forward in a consolidated hearing. The court's proposing that we do that this morning, waiving the right to a pre-sentence investigation report under Criminal Rule 32A. Before I get there, just let me ask at this time of the jurors, is this your true and correct verdict that's been rendered in this case? Very well. Does the state wish to have the jury pulled on the special verdict form?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Does the defense wish to have the jury pulled on this special verdict form?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Very well. As I mentioned, then that's the result of the verdict form. The court would then proceed with additional sentencing on those 2 counts, as well as the counts 1 through 6 determined now by the jury. Mr. Pryor, is the defense willing to move forward with a consolidated hearing on those counts this morning without a pre-sentence investigation report?
As previously indicated, Judge, yes, we are.
Okay, is the state going to be ready to proceed with a sentencing on those issues as well?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Counsel, I do want to take a brief recess just to briefly prepare for that, given the verdict, and I will come back on the bench. It really won't take long. I would suggest that a 30-minute recess will come back on the record. The court will conclude with that sentencing hearing. So if everybody could be back here by 10 after, we'll have the jury return one last time to the jury room to wait for that final sentencing hearing. We'll conduct that in the presence of the jurors also, and then I'll have concluding instructions for the jurors. So we will be in recess for 30 minutes. We'll come back for that final stage of the proceeding. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. So, like we had the feeling, Chad's basically sentenced to death. And he's 55 years old. By the time that happens, I don't know, is it going to be what, 85 years old? I don't know. Now, it was a little bit complicated or a little confusing because they did the double negative of how did they word it? They did not find that the death penalty is unjust. So when you're first hearing, like, wait, what? Even though all those aggravating factors said yes, yes, yes. So Chad Daybell is found guilty and he is receiving the death penalty. And the death penalty, or sorry, the method of execution, they just implemented last year the firing squad. And so whenever that'll happen, and that was put into place last July. But as everyone was stated, they don't have the facilities apparently for that, so they have to build it. But, you know, so I see a lot of this too. I don't believe in the death penalty, but I'll make an exception for this evil turd. I think that's exactly what it sounded like in, I shouldn't say everybody, but when the jury selection was occurring, they were talking about the death penalty. Some were like, you know, not typically, I'm not, but in exceptions, you know, how do you feel about that? I would love to see Lori's face right now. How can you do all of these things and think it's okay and think you're going to get away with it and there's no repercussions? Like, it's just stupid. But I do believe that Chad's done this before. I don't think this is his first rodeo, in my opinion. And I think there's a lot more than meets the eye with that person. Laura says, this is incredible. That's why it took so long for them to decide. They probably went back and forth until they decided just, wow. I find it very quick, actually, Laura. But, you know, these guys have been doing this for 8 weeks. And they're seeing all the little details of what his little handiwork was. And I don't know. Can you find anything more evil than that? What they've done. And him. Wonder what Emma's thinking now. Yeah, I guess her lies didn't work. Yep, they added that last year. So what they're having a hard time, I guess, with is getting the drugs for the lethal injection, apparently sourcing them, whatever. And now that they're going to do that, they have, I believe it's 5 people aiming at him, but no one knows. Like 4 of them will have dummy bullets and the other one of them won't. And so they don't know who shoots them. But it does sound archaic, doesn't it? Now, here's the thing I have a question about. In the beginning of jury selection, I mentioned this, but there was a hearing that Judge Boyce sealed documents and it had to do with something with Arizona. So I wonder if he's going to deal with all this stuff with Charles and Brandon. We know Lori, when she finished her trial, they extradited her to Arizona. So now I don't know how this is going to go down. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. Is there a special rule if he's on death row? Obviously, maybe he'll go there and then come back. I don't know. Some of this is new to me. I know more about the American justice system, though, than I do Canada. And I'm Canadian. Morris says justice has been served. That's about it. 144,000, Chad's portal potty, and justice emoji. I love that you put that's about it. Will the life insurance companies now go after the money he defrauded them on, getting the money he gave to his kids? I don't know what happens now with that. I mean, how would he even pay that back when John owns the house? I don't know, John, you own it. You tell me. Do you think John will sell it now, right at the peak of time, so he could get his money? What do you think? Hopefully somebody will answer the life insurance question, because I do not know. I like how the juror form walked them through the decision. I'm impressed how the court has operated this trial. It has been impressive. Can't wait for Judge Boyce to say something to him. Cannot wait. Thank you. Chad's next book is Both Feet in the Yeeve. What's a yeeve? Oh, the grave. It's a grave. I know. I got you. I got you. Both feet in the grave. I got you. Thank you. Hey, Chad, your secrets are out of the shadows. Karma's here to collect. Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Yeah. He's in trouble. The firing squad is only back up to lethal injection if the chemicals are unavailable. Correct. If they paid attention and helped Charles, this could have been prevented. No one would listen to him. That was the saddest part of all. Charles said, look, I don't know what's going on. My wife's losing it. She's acting weird. She's talking weird. She said, I'm going to murder you. And they just kind of looked at him like, whatever. And now here we are. Charles dead, Tylee dead, JJ dead, Tammy dead, Brandon almost dead. And for what? Like Larry said, and for what? Thanks, Charlotte. Thank you, Michelle Bell. I think with the firing squad, they also have multiple people and only one person will have the kill shot. Yes. Yep. The rest get blanks. Thanks, Lisa. Does this mean that while he's on death row, he will receive 23 hours of isolation a day? This is what people are saying. Where do I find this information for the state of Idaho? Okay, let's take a look, because I was reading other things like his lunch. So I did a video on the firing squad and that, but let's just see. Idaho. I can give you some statistics too. That would be good, right? Death penalty info. The death penalty was established in Idaho in 1864 before statehood. Since 1864, Idaho has carried out 29 executions. In 1901, executions were moved to Idaho State Prison. And prior to that, executions were carried out on a county level and were often public. Idaho's last hanging was conducted in 1957. Now, it goes through a little timeline. In 2023, Governor Brad Little signs a bill allowing execution by firing squad amidst a nationwide shortage of lethal injection drugs. Under this bill, firing squads will be used if the state cannot obtain the drugs necessary for lethal injections. And notable cases, notable exonerations. Remember, there was also back in February, somebody was getting a lethal injection. It didn't work. So in 2011, there was an execution, 2012, and also there was one more that I read. Maybe not. Let me see what else they have in there. Because this is interesting, right? And I think there's one woman on death row in Idaho too. There is no accurate measure of the length of time prisoners spend on death row. Some prisoners are on death row for only a short period of time before their convictions or death sentences are overturned in the courts. Others have spent more than 4 decades on death row before being exonerated or being non-capitally resentenced. Half of all death row exonerations have taken more than a decade, and the length of time between conviction and exoneration has continued to grow. More than half of the exonerations since 2013 have taken 25 years or more. The length of time prisoners spend on death row in the United States before being executed began to emerge as a topic of interest in the debate about the death penalty in the early 2000s. The discussion increased around the 2005 execution of Michael Ross, a Connecticut inmate who had been on death row for 17 years and has been spurred by the writings of several Supreme Court justices, most recently Justin Stephen Breyer, who have unsuccessfully urged the court to consider this issue. Death row prisoners in U.S. typically spend more than a decade awaiting execution or court rulings overturning their death sentences. More than half of all prisoners currently sentenced to death in the U.S. have been on death row for more than 18 years. While on death row, those serving capital sentences are generally isolated from other prisoners, excluded from prison educational and employment programs, and sharply restricted in terms of visitation and exercise, spending as many as 23 hours a day alone in their cells. This raises the question of whether death row prisoners are being subject to 2 distinct punishments: the death sentence itself and the years of living in conditions tantamount to solitary confinement, a severe form of punishment that may be used only for very limited periods for general population prisoners. Moreover, unlike general population prisoners, even in solitary confinement, prisoners on death row live in a state of constant uncertainty over when they will be executed. For some death row prisoners, the isolation and anxiety results in a sharp deterioration in their health and mental status. Boo-hoo, what about Tylee, JJ, and Tammy, and Charles, who never get to have their freedom or talk again or even be able to check in on their mental health status. What else? Men make up 98% of those on death row. Women make 2%. 28.2% of death row prisoners are aged 25 to 44, and 54.8% are 50 or older. Chad is 55. 9.5% of death row prisoners had a prior homicide conviction. So, let's see what else here. I'll get to a couple more comments. Good point. Jesus loves you, Chad. You're forgiven, right? The prosecution did an amazing job. You're welcome. Thank you. Yes, Arizona detectives dropped the ball on Charles' murder. That's why this monsters felt untouchable and kept killing, because they got away with his murder. They honestly thought, in my 10 creepy facts about Chad Daybell, they honestly thought that because of everything was going on and that the end of times was coming, and they believed they were going to lead the 144,000 to the second coming of Christ. They believed nobody would notice, with all the stuff going on, that no one would notice that the kids were in the ground. and that Tylee would be killed. They honestly thought they were untouchable. Kimber says, watched your coverage since the start. Looking forward to your future efforts. Thank you, Linda. Love joining today. Awesome. Thank you. And thank you, all of you, for being here, supporting my channel, supporting my videos by watching, supporting all our emotional health here by watching together. I very, very much appreciate you. I want you guys to know that and not forget that. Well, Chad has still enough time to influence Emma to continue his mission. Anyways, looking forward to what Judge Boyce says to Chad. Me too, Ian. Can't wait. Let's see what Judge Boyce has to say. I'm thinking there should be a press conference after this as well, so we'll look for that. He deserves this, zero remorse. Yeah, he doesn't care, does he? Will cost $750,000 to retrofit a wing to carry out death penalty. Wow. Wow. Thanks so much for your great coverage. Thank you. Thanks so much. And thanks, Lori. Thank you. Okay, let's see what else you guys are saying here. Totally. How do you feel after following this so passionately for so long, Linda? I feel like, well, first and foremost, this should never, ever happen to a human being. And meaning the victims and the families and the ripple effects and what they've done, not just to the victims, but also the families and those involved. It's been a long time for them. I know for me, just doing 250 videos or however many it's been, plus, I guess it'd be more than 250 now because I've done what is that? 20, 30 live streams or whatever it's been. I always want to get to the truth. And for me, I always want to expose the details that maybe are not understood or shown so that you guys could understand it. I can understand it. And it's one of those things, like I can't walk away from a case that I've been looking into or covered until it's the very end. I used to joke with my ex-husband because he said, you would be a terrible medic. And I said, I know. I would want to know. First of all, I'd cry that grandma is hurting, or a little kid or an adult, doesn't matter who, I would be crying. And the other thing is, I always want to see, well, what happened? What ended up happening to them? I want to know what happened to grandma. He said, Linda, you would be fired the first day. I said, I know. So I feel like justice is happening. We have Lori taken care of. We have Chad taken care of. Now we got to go for Lori and hopefully Chad, and they take care of for Charles and for Brandon. I feel like Melanie Pulowski should be also in this mix. I think if Brandon was killed, it would have pointed right back to Melanie Pulowski and Chad and Lori and Alex. And she's lucky that she didn't get busted. And she's lied numerous times. Hope Arizona has someone as amazing as Lindsay Blake. Thanks for your dedication to justice, Linda. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Why did Lori not get the death penalty? A couple of reasons. She waived her right to a speedy trial, and also there was so much information, and there was one more thing. They couldn't do it, and there was one more. Let me just double check this. There was 2 or 3 things. There was also something else. They got sanctioned. Yeah. So no dice for Lori, but that's okay. She's going to be just keep adding on. She'll never get out. She'll never get to have her $1 million touched by a man again. So there's that. Now, we should have another 10 more minutes. Let's go get Bear now. 100% agree. My hand's itchy. Does that mean left hand is lucky? Love this. He did not get away with it. There'll be justice for Brandon in August. Now, how on a scale from 0 to 10, how extreme do you think Judge Boyce is going to be with Chad? 10 being the highest, 0 being not so much. Oh, yes. You guys want my Brandon episodes. Let's get into it. I have a series on Brandon. I have a series on Melanie. That might be the same one, actually. And then as we get closer to the Brandon trial, I'll do more on him and also on Charles because we need a little update. But I've done Charles as well. Let me just find it for you guys. Brandon. Here you go. Coming at ya. Going to double check on the stream, make sure it's okay. Please, if you have a moment, let me check in on, we're going to check in on the booping the button. Okay, there's 4,500 hanging out with us. Thank you for being here. And if you have a moment, please, please, please boop the button for me. There's 2,500 likes and there's 4,500 people hanging. So please, if you can, take a moment and boop that button for justice for everybody. 10, you go 20. You guys think that they're gonna 10 at 11. Okay, he's gonna be going after him. Brandon's trials in Arizona. Arizona does not have the death penalty. And they'll be on in 6 minutes back into court. Good, we'll watch for that. Let's double check and see what Caitlin says. Oh, one of the jurors was crying. The victims and families are in tears. That was earlier, obviously. Thank you. Bearable for me too. Lynn Marie says, Judge Boyce is more confident now. He's going to lay Chad wide open. Especially putting it all together with what Lori's aspect of it, Alex, and now Chad, and putting it all together. And oof, I think we'll get chills from that. Was it Colby who was sitting in the aisle in front? Yes. In the middle. Yeah, in the aisle. Mm-hmm. How's my cat's checkup yesterday? Expensive. But she's going to be okay. She had to get some a needle and some things, so. And my cat is allergic to chicken. Button is booped. Thank you. And bing the button. Bing it. Hash brown it. Don't lapidity it. This is awesome. Thank you, David. Arizona has the death penalty? Wait, what? How did I think it's not? Apparently I need a nap. It is too. Look at you, you guys are so smart. I knew that already. You guys are. Supreme Court dashes Arizona death row inmates hope to avoid death penalty. That's yesterday's. And then they reinstated a death penalty for an Arizona murderer. Look at that. Love you guys. Thank you for help. Guess I was wrong. It's okay. It's okay. I don't know, though. I don't know if Lori's going to. All right. I don't think Lori's going to get that. Oh, there you go. They recently put a hold on it, and that's maybe why they're bringing it back on the day ago news. Apparently, I was wrong, Michelle. I grew up there, and Jodi Arias was facing the death penalty, so I know they had it back when she was on trial. Maybe that was just my mistake. Now I'm sending a frenzy to everybody. Everybody's going to be like, Linda said. Apparently, I have too much information in my head. A juror crying could open up a mistrial. Holy moly. You think? No. They were crying. They were crying when there is pictures. It's hard not to. I would be a mess. Raccoon that button. Thank you. I know, me too. Can you believe it's been 2 months today? We started April 1st on jury selection. Okay, it's 12:10. They need to come back on time. Death penalty, Rebecca. Sentenced to death. I love you guys too. That'll be interesting if he's 23 hours a day. All he has to do all day is be in his portal potty. Let's get that out for him. Here's his portal potty. The different kind of 144,000 flushes. Oh, Chad. Look at that, Chad Tato. You're going to be facing the toilet for 144,000 times. Where are we at on our liking scale? 2,900 out of 4,700. Please boop the button. Also share, because here's what's going to be happening. The judge is going to come in, and I hope he gives him the tongue lashing of his life. So we can't miss that, and everyone has to join in and hear that. What's Brandon's trial? So Lori's charged for Brandon's attempt on his life, and for Charles, conspiracy charges and some other stuff. So that's going to be supposed to be on August 1st. We don't know if it's postponed. I don't know as of now because I haven't followed Lori's in the last 8 weeks because clearly I'm busy in here. But if it's August 1st, we will be back here every single day and watch that you know what show go down. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, let's see what they say about the press conference. I'm sure it'll be just right after whenever that happens. In the beautiful, did you guys see the waterfall? Ah, there we go. So this is Caitlin just posted a article about the death penalty, and this is what I have read in a previous video.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Here, we're right on, almost on time.
All right, we're back on the record on CR 22-21-1623, State of Idaho versus Chad Guy Daybell, concluding the special sentencing hearing that's being conducted where the court intends to sentence the defendant on the counts in the amended indictment, including the insurance fraud counts. Is the state ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is the defense ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Very well, Mr. Bailiff, if you'd please have the jurors brought in.
Yes, Your Honor. All right, please. Jury's all present accounted for, Your Honor.
Thank you. Please be seated. Okay, we are back on the record on CR 2221-1623, continuing the special sentencing proceeding. The jury has returned its special verdict. The court would note that pursuant to Idaho Code 18-4004, which is the punishment for murder statute in Idaho, that crime in murder of the first degree can be punished by death. And under Idaho Code 192515 subsection 7A, that states that if the jury finds that a statutory aggravating circumstance exists and no mitigating circumstances exist, which would make the imposition of the death penalty unjust, the defendant will be sentenced to death by the court. The court's reviewed the findings of the jurors in the special verdict form. They've taken their time through these deliberations to return that verdict. And so the court will proceed with sentencing first on counts 1 through 6. And again, this is an unusual hearing because the sentencing hearing's already been taking place. We've heard from the victims through impact statements and arguments from counsel. That's already taken place. In addition, a pre-sentence investigation report is not to be ordered in these hearings, so the court does not reference that. The court then orders as follows, and this will be contained in the court's judgment at the conclusion of the case. As to count 1, the conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and grand theft by deception for the murder of Tylee Ryan, upon the jury's finding of guilty and the return of the special verdict form, the jury finding beyond a reasonable doubt and having returned the special verdict that the aggravating circumstances when weighed against the mitigating circumstances do not make the imposition of the death penalty unjust. The court, therefore, on count 1, the defendant is sentenced to death. On count 2, the first-degree murder of Tylee Ryan, the jury finding beyond a reasonable doubt and having returned the special verdict that the aggravating circumstances when weighed against the mitigating circumstances do not make the imposition of the death penalty unjust. The court, therefore, on count 2, sentences the defendant to death. On count 3, the conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and grand theft by deception for the murder of J.J. Vallow, the jury finding beyond a reasonable doubt and having returned the special verdict that the aggravating circumstances when weighed against the mitigating circumstances do not make the imposition of the death penalty unjust. The court, therefore, on count 3, sentences the defendant to death. On count 4, first-degree murder of J.J. Vallow, the jury finding beyond a reasonable doubt and having returned the special verdict that the aggravating circumstances when weighed against the mitigating circumstances do not make the imposition of the death penalty unjust. The court, therefore, on count 4, sentences the defendant to death. On count 5, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder of Tammy Daybell, the jury having found beyond a reasonable doubt and having returned the special verdict that the aggravating circumstances when weighed against the mitigating circumstances do not make the imposition of the death penalty unjust. The court, therefore, on count 5, sentences the defendant to death. On count 6, the first-degree murder charge, the murder of Tammy Daybell, the jury having found beyond a reasonable doubt and returned the special verdict that the aggravating circumstances when weighed against the mitigating circumstances do not make the imposition of the death penalty unjust. The court, therefore, on count 6, sentences the defendant to death. The court's next going to take up counts 7 and 9 on the insurance fraud counts. Before I do that, from the state, are there any questions regarding the court's judgment as it relates to counts 1 through 6?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Questions from the defense?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, moving on to insurance fraud, then the court will note that I am required to go through a sentencing proceeding on this. These are separate counts that have not been determined in the special verdict form by the jurors. Some brief procedural history. Mr. Daybell was charged by amended indictment with counts 7 and 9, insurance fraud under Idaho Code 41293, which is a felony. Mr. Daybell pled not guilty to those counts on June 9th, 2021. Thereafter, this trial was held, and as part of the findings of the jury in their verdict, they did find the defendant guilty of both of those counts. The court has considered, in lieu of a pre-sentence investigation report, the information that I've heard throughout this trial. I also heard information regarding these charges in the previous trial held last year against co-defendant Lori Vallow. I've also heard information received during the special sentencing proceeding relating to those counts as well, and have considered that information in lieu of a pre-sentence investigation report. And I'll also note the defendant waived the pre-sentence investigation report and is permitted to do that, and the court can allow that under Criminal Rule 32A. At this time then, before I move forward with the sentencing on counts 7 and 9, I will inquire of the state, is the state wishing to make any sentencing recommendation as it relates to count 7 or 9?
And Your Honor, just for clarification, were the insurance frauds count 8 and 9?
As listed in the amended indictment, they are listed as counts 7 and count 9.
Thank you. Co-counsel just clarified for me on that. Your Honor, the state is prepared to make a statement. First, I would indicate for the record that in relation to the sentencing hearing, the sentencing portion handled yesterday, the state did make our best attempts to reach out to all statutory victims to allow them the opportunity to be heard by the court. And those that the court heard from yesterday were the ones that had wished to make impact statements. While not directly related to the insurance fraud, I did just want to make a clear record of that. In relation to the insurance fraud charges, in light of the sentence that has been imposed by this court and by the recommendation of the jury in relation to the other charges, the state would indicate we think that the victim statements covered everything the state could say. While the insurance charges again are attenuated to it, we've lost 3 individuals that the state can do nothing to bring them back. And so the best we can do is move forward in seeking justice on their behalves. In relation to the insurance counts themselves, given the sentences, we would recommend this court impose jail time and have that, or prison time, impose a sentence and run it concurrent with the imposition of the other sentence by this court. I believe they carry up to 15 years in prison. We'd recommend they run concurrent with each other and with the imposition of death in this case. We would also recommend restitution in the amount of $130,000 to LifeMap and $300,000 to Primerica. As part of that, we would also recommend a waiver of any fines or court costs in this matter in order to allow restitution to be paid if any money is available to go towards that.
All right, thank you for the state's sentencing recommendations. Mr. Pryor, does the defense wish to make sentencing recommendations as to, I'll do them collectively, counts 7 and 9, the insurance fraud counts?
No, Judge, there's nothing further. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, is there any objection to the requested restitution amounts of $130,000 and $300,000?
Judge, we may need to set that out at this point, but I'll let the court know if that changes.
All right, I'll permit 30 days for the scheduling of a contested hearing on restitution. If that becomes an issue, we could conduct that hearing most likely remotely on a Zoom hearing if it becomes an issue. At this time, I will ask, because I need to on these counts, before I impose any sentence, Mr. Daybell, you do have the right of allocution, which permits you to make a statement on your own behalf in any mitigation of these offenses. Is there any statement you would like to make before I proceed with sentencing on those counts?
No.
Very well. The court then, having considered the information previously referenced, finds that pursuant to Idaho Code 41293, which under subsection 4 indicates a penalty of up to 15 years of prison. On each of those two counts, the court is going to impose a prison sentence of 15 years. So a 15-year sentence will be imposed on count 7. The court will take under advisement the issue of restitution requested by the state. The court will not impose any fines. The court also will impose a 15-year prison sentence on count 9. Also pursuant to the same statute, take under advisement the issue of restitution. The court will note in imposing these prison sentences that I have reviewed Idaho Code 192521, which requires me to go through certain criteria about the imposition of a prison sentence versus a possibility of parole or a lesser sentence. And I would note that the rationale for the prison sentences is that these are intertwined with the murder charges for which the death penalty has been imposed on those counts. And when the court looks at the sentencing factors under 1925-21, I would note in mitigation that Mr. Daybell has been incarcerated an extensively long time in local jail and has a previous law-abiding history, and I have considered that. I've also considered that he's always conducted himself respectfully, from what I've heard from all of the jailers that have ever interacted with him over the years that he's been incarcerated for these charges. However, the court finds under Idaho Code 2521 also that any lesser sentence would depreciate the seriousness of these offenses because this life insurance was obtained based on the murders of individuals and procuring life insurance payouts unlawfully. And because of that, it's the most serious offense, that circumstance that could lead to that. In addition, imprisonment will provide an appropriate punishment and deterrent for the defendant and others, and will also be a deterrent for the community as well. So the court having then concluded with the sentencing on that, I will not order any fines because the defendant's previously been deemed indigent and has received the death penalty on these murder counts, and find it would be futile to have an order of fines in the case. So with those remarks, then the court typically would address the defendant further, but in the special sentencing proceeding, the victim impact statements and the evidence has already demonstrated on the record, I think, the seriousness of what's occurred. And I don't find any reason to further delve into the court's rationale other than what was listed in the statute. So unless there's anything further, that will conclude the sentencing, but I will address the post-conviction issues that need to be addressed at this time. Does the state have anything further then on the sentence and count 7 and count 9?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Anything further from the defense?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Daybell, in this case, given the sentence that was imposed in counts 1 through 6, there's a special appellate and post-conviction procedure for capital cases, and an automatic stay may be in effect. There's a statute that's Idaho Code 192719 that sets out certain deadlines. I am providing you and counsel with a courtesy copy of that statute, but I will note a few of the deadlines that are listed in there. Under subsection 1, when the punishment of death is imposed, the time for filing an appeal shall begin to run when the death warrant is filed. Number 2, the death warrant shall not be filed until 42 days after the judgment imposing the death sentence has been filed. Number 3, within 42 days of the filing of the judgment imposing the punishment of death, the defendant must file any legal or factual challenges to the sentence of conviction. There's other important and critical deadlines that are contained within that statute, and I am going to provide a copy of that to Mr. Pryor to ensure that the defense is well advised of those post-conviction rights that would apply in this special proceeding. I'll also note that there's an additional rule, Idaho criminal rule. She'll give me a moment. I think it's 40, 44.2. Criminal Rule 44.2, and that's the mandatory appointment of counsel for post-conviction review after imposition of the death penalty. That rule is also applicable in your case, and a copy of the rule itself is going to be provided to you in counsel to ensure that you're well aware of any post-conviction rights you may have. With that, then, the court is going to conclude the special sentencing proceeding. Is there anything further I need to take up from the state?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Anything further from the defense?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone for your abiding by the court's courtroom conduct order. We'll be in recess.
All right. Thank you.
What do you guys think? Looks a little deflated today. Colby swaying back and forth. So we'll probably have a what do you call it? A press conference. But interesting, he says that, where did I read that? Sorry, 1 second for the silence, guys. Yeah, prosecution is expected to do a press conference outside shortly. So we'll get to that. Let me pull that up. I wonder if they're going to do a hang on, guys. I'm just pulling up the live and seeing about that. Me too. I am surprised that the judge didn't say anything like Lori. He said after the victim impact statements, he just yeah, but I'm surprised. He did with Lori. Okay. You're hearing a waterfall if you wonder what the staticky sound is. Wow. Okay, so we'll just do this. So you might hear a little bit of calming water. I'm just going to pull up the other one. Just one sec, guys. We'll take a couple minutes and then doesn't sound like we're going to hear from the judge. The live stream ended. There's no live stream. So that's done from Judge Boyce. Okay, let's take some questions while we wait. Why didn't he thank the jurors? I don't know, but there's no more court stream. Vicky says, Judge Boyce deserves a round of applause after having presided over both trials. The victim impact statement said it all, although I'm sure the judge has his own private thoughts. Just interesting because he really unloaded on Lori. I would have liked to have heard, well, maybe he just is so disgusted. He's like, you know what? I have nothing else to say. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Thumbs up for Judge Boyce. Weirdest trial ever. So we're just waiting for the prosecution to come out and do a press conference. They did a heck of a job. And it was interesting when the judge said, he took into consideration about the Chad's no criminal history before. But I wonder what else happened. You don't go from 0 to 60 overnight. All of you guys rock. It's awesome. We had 5,371 people in here today, which is crazy when you think about it in a building, how many people that would be. Boop, the button for Boyce. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Yeah, exactly, Miss Catherine. In our opinion. Chris says, I'm betting Judge Boyce is emotionally worn out after presiding over both trials. He will talk to the jury and thank them. He's done a great job. Yeah, he certainly has. Well, this is his second phase in his life, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Let me know when you're ready. Caitlin Hart with East Idaho News. We just came down from the last hearing of the sentencing phase. Judge Boyce did officially sentence Chad Daybell to death for counts 1 through 6 on the indictment. For the last 2 counts of insurance fraud, Chad was sentenced to 15 years in prison for each of them, plus over $300,000 for the life insurance money that was taken when Tammy and the children, when Tammy was killed during her life insurance policy situation. I'm here with Sarah. Sarah has been here for so much of the trial, right? Tell me how long that you were here watching this trial.
I came to 2 days during jury selection that week, and then since then, I think I've missed out of the full, like when the jury was like impaneled, I think I missed maybe 7 or 8 days total of all the weeks.
Out of 9 weeks. That's a lot. So what made you so interested that you had to be here for it?
Well, I just find it compelling to listen to these like real life stories and see them play out online. And I think that just any average like human with like an average amount of empathy is probably feels like compelled by just what is happening. And just if you're here and you're able to go, I was lucky enough to be able to go. I just felt like it was a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Right. And Sarah was up there with me waiting for the whole verdict. I think there was probably like 20 something people up there just waiting, including media and the public. And we waited around 5 hours for this second sentencing verdict. Are you surprised by the verdict that he got the death penalty and not life in prison?
If you asked me that before the witness impact statements, I think I would have said yes, especially having heard what the people that got impaneled said in their voir dires. But after listening to the witness impact statements and just how I felt, and then watching the jury and getting kind of a feel for sort of the vibe they put off the whole trial, their vibe to me felt very disgusted. There was a lot of disgust and just sort of like fed up, and you could tell they felt for the witnesses that were giving their victims that were giving their statements. And so after that, I was leaning towards thinking they were going to vote for death.
Right. I think a lot of us were kind of on the fence about what was going to happen. And a lot of us thought that the sentencing verdict was going to be quicker than the guilty verdict. And it ended up being about 1 or 2 hours longer, I think. And so it was an interesting time. And I guess we'll see what happens from here. Right now, we're waiting for the prosecutors. We heard they're going to come out and try to do a press conference, and we will carry that live. And stay watching. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to be waiting for the prosecution to come out. I can see you guys are a little bit confused as to what's going on because judge says in recess. And just to let you know that there's no, I'm double checking. There's nothing else on his streaming, like on his channel. So I'm not sure what's happening, but right now we're waiting for the prosecution to come out and do a press conference. Much awaited. We do miss Nate. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been a bunch of screwed up years, hasn't it? Judge refrains from doing chats on mistrial or successful appeal. Recap, please. Okay, well, this morning we're on pins and needles trying to figure out what the heck was going on. The verdict came in, and the jurors went through the aggravating factors and deemed them to all have check marks pretty much. And so counts 1 to 6 in terms of Tylee, JJ, and Tammy, Chad was sentenced to the death penalty. So he'll be having that for his second phase of his life. That's going to be different than his first. And then on counts 7 and 9, he was sentenced to 15 years each. Now, one of the things that Lindsay said, which was important, she said the state can do nothing to bring the victims back. And that's when she started talking about counts 7 and 9. So Chad's going to see the death penalty. And he should have thought about that before he killed people, if he doesn't like it. I'm going to highlight this, and you guys will know why. Apparently not. He got the death penalty because he's a monster. So, do you feel better? Chad's going to trial for the death penalty. He can sit there for 23 hours a day pretending to read the Bible when he's really evil and all he wants to do is get out and do it again. How about them apples? The victim impact statements were yesterday, so I will give you a link to that. So it'll be easier for you. And I think it started maybe at the 39-minute mark, I think, because they were a little bit late. So I'll get you the link to that. We're already on June 1st, so let's see. Here we go. Here's the link for the victim impact statements. Yeah, April Fool's Day. Yeah, now it's going to be northeast east. Not southwest west. No, south southwest north northeast. Linda, will you be covering Lori's trial in Arizona? 1000% yes. We will get justice for Charles now and for Brandon, his attempt on him. And I will be doing that. And so I do have playlists on Brandon, on Charles. I did give the Brandon series earlier. I'll give you the Charles series. I do break down timelines. And even before we knew information, I was even estimating times, and it kind of coincided with the real stuff. So let me just give you this. Charles Here is the Charles Vallow series. And we'll do some updates too when we're gearing up for that. Oh, let me Vallow series. Why is court in recess? I don't know. Basically, he gave the death penalty, he sentenced Chad. Now we're waiting for the prosecution to come out and do a, what's the word? Press conference. Is there any updates? Let's see. Not yet. Now, notable, I ate this entire thing yesterday and part of this morning. So there's that. Highly recommend it. I recommend the orange chocolate one. The orange dark chocolate. But I ate all of that. So this week will be the treadmill and some weights because 8 weeks of sitting is not good for my body. Suzanne says, thank you, Linda, for the last 8 weeks. It was a pleasure to spend them with you and all in chat. Yes, everybody got so close, didn't we? Got to hang out. Thank you, Suzanne. We got to hang out and chill and cry. I know, it's so good. Oh, this is interesting. Linda, just in case you didn't know, there are only 4 states in the U.S. still allowing conjugal visits in their prisons. California, Connecticut, New York, and Washington. Idaho isn't one of them. I guess they should have figured that out. Oh, no! Hang on. Maybe that's not happening right now. We're going to mute that. Okay, so they're getting different directions. So we'll see what happens here. I don't see anything on Judge Boyce's yet either. So what a whirlwind. Now, since there's almost 4,000 of you in chat, we have a question again. I did ask this the other day, but I want to double check. Are you still wanting me to do videos on this case? If I find something new, maybe some recaps on the trial that I found or that, noticed or whatever. Let me know that. CJ, I agree with you. Where did I see you? Nice to see you. Emma has to live with the fact that she lied in court but won't care. Yes. Okay, you guys are... Some no, let them all rest in peace. Well, there's still a few things that I would like to sort out. We still have Lori and Charles and Brandon. So that would continue. I could do more on that. There's a couple things that some people couldn't watch the trial. So I might do some of those. But this is important part. I'm going to also steer away from Daybell so we have other things and other cases to do, right? This ain't over till it's over. Agree on Charles and Brandon. Oh, wow. I've lost a total of 26 pounds during the trial using the treadmill. Awesome. I should have been doing that. Going on the treadmill while watching. I'm going to learn for next one. Thank you. Okay, let's see where we're at. Your Chad B. Gravedigger video is genius. Thank you. I'll give you guys the. I know a lot of you have watched it, but some of you haven't, especially those who are new and have never seen me before. So you might want to see what I do and some info on him. But thank God Chad's done. But I think Chad's gonna still get in trouble for Arizona. I don't know. Can't wait to do some new videos as well. A different cases other than Daybell. Conference is starting. I don't see it. Where's that? Oh, shoot.
Case has been about speaking for and seeking justice for the lives of three wonderful humans whose lives were cut way too short by the selfish desires of the defendant and his co-defendant, Lori Vallow. We are pleased with the outcome and that justice has been served for the victims in this case. This has been a collective effort between multiple agencies working in collaboration to see this case through for the victims and their families. There are so many people who have been involved and helped behind the scenes, and every last one of them has been instrumental in obtaining justice. When I came into office in 2021, after discussing the case with others in Fremont County and collaborating with the Fremont County Sheriff's Office, a decision was made to bring the case back to Fremont County because we felt strongly the case of J.J. Vallow, Tylee Ryan, and Tammy Daybell should be combined and tried together. You heard from some of the victims' families how these three have been intertwined forever. The Fremont County Sheriff's Office was instrumental in the decision and support
of the prosecutor's office in making that difficult decision. I cannot express enough Fremont County's gratitude to Rob Wood and the Madison County Prosecutor's Office. They started this case looking into the whereabouts of JJ and Tylee. Then when the children's remains were discovered, Rob Wood stepped in without hesitation when my predecessor requested he take the case as a special prosecutor, and then ultimately agreed to combine resources to pursue justice for the victims in this case. A special thanks to Fremont County Deputy Prosecutors Rocky Wixom and Tanya Rawlings for their dedication and efforts in both this case and the case against Lori Vallow. The Attorney General's office, in first taking on the prosecution of the murder of Tammy, and then by their agreement to allow us to have Deputy Attorney General Ingrid Beatty join the prosecution team. The FBI for stepping in without hesitation when the children were missing, with their extensive experience and their resources, and continuing to see this case through to the end. The Rexburg Police Department for starting the investigation into the whereabouts of JJ and Tylee, and then never giving up the search. The Fremont County Sheriff's Office for their tenaciousness in pursuing the investigation into the death of Tammy Daybell. Arizona law enforcement for sharing everything they had uncovered and their willingness to come to testify in the cases here in Idaho. This became a joint investigation, a joint effort to find the children, and then ultimately to seek justice on their behalf. I've been absolutely amazed and astounded at the level of investigation, professionalism of the officers involved, and the camaraderie that has been formed. I tell them all the time, they make my job a lot easier. We extend our support to Arizona in their continued pursuit of justice for the additional victims, Charles Vallow and Brandon Boudreau. We also extend our immense gratitude to the jurors in this case who didn't sign up for this difficult process, but agreed to perform their civic duty. And in rendering this verdict, we hope the victims and survivors of Chad Daybell know that the community as a whole does not tolerate the loss of three precious and irreplaceable human beings. We are hopeful that those who have been involved and affected by this case and the actions of the defendant and his co-conspirators can now begin to heal.
Four and a half years ago, Detective Ray Hermosillo walked into our office needing a warrant for what started as a simple search for a Jeep to help an investigation in Chandler, Arizona. This soon turned into a search for two young children, Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow. That investigation merged with the death of Tammy Daybell. Very quickly, multiple law enforcement agencies and prosecutors' offices began working together diligently to find those missing children and determine what happened. Realizing the children's last residence was in Madison County, we began a child protection action to bring the children to safety. When it was clear that Lori Vallow Daybell and Chad Daybell had no interest in helping us locate Tylee and JJ, we took further action in filing charges against Lori and extradited her from Hawaii. The search for Tylee and JJ was nonstop. Every stone was unturned through the diligent team efforts of the Rexburg Police Department, Fremont County Sheriff's Office, the Idaho Attorney General investigators, the FBI, Chandler and Gilbert Police Departments. The willingness of so many different law enforcement agencies to work together and pool resources to obtain justice for these victims is unprecedented. All of these agencies work together with the single goal of justice in mind, and we cannot thank them enough. From the Madison County Prosecutor's Office, we are so grateful for the working relationship and partnership we've had with Lindsay Blake and everyone at the Fremont County Prosecutor's Office in obtaining justice, both in this trial and the trial against Lori Vallow. That includes not only Lindsay, her deputies Tanya Rawling, Rocky Wixom, and all their help staff. I'd also like to thank Ingrid Beatty for being here with us and the Attorney General for allowing her to work with us. And I want to say that Lindsay Blake's dedication to each of the victims in this case has been unwavering. Her willingness to take on this case when she took office, when she didn't have to, was absolutely courageous. It has been an honor to work with her. And I'd also like to thank members of the Madison County Prosecutor's Office who've helped on this case, prosecutors Spencer Rammel, Mackenzie Cole, and Rachel Smith, who've helped on this case. Today, justice was served for Tylee, JJ, and Tammy. 3 innocent victims whose lives were tragically cut short by the selfish and cruel actions of Chad and Lori Daybell, who embarked on a path of destruction that irrevocably altered the lives of countless families and countless individuals. While nothing can undo the immense harm caused, we have worked tirelessly to secure a measure of justice for Tylee, JJ, and Tammy. This week, a diligent and attentive Ada County jury carefully considered the evidence and presented and returned a verdict of guilty on all counts. Last year, an Ada County jury did that for Lori Daybell as well. Pursuing justice in this case required the unwavering dedication of a large team of public servants who have devoted the last 4.5 years to ensuring we had the evidence to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Again, we extend our deepest gratitude to all the committed law enforcement professionals from these agencies who have made tremendous personal sacrifices in the face of an emotionally and physically challenging case. We are indebted to them for their service. We also want to applaud the incredible strength and resilience of the victims and family members who, despite unimaginable grief, have stood with us these past 4.5 years in our pursuit of the truth. Their support has been invaluable. To all those who held Tylee, JJ, and Tammy in their hearts, we hope these verdicts bring a measure of healing and closure, and may the memory of Tylee, JJ, and Tammy continue to be a blessing to all who knew and loved them. Thank you.
Take a few questions. If anybody has some questions, you can ask some questions if you want.
Go ahead.
I think every attorney handles it a little bit different, and probably every investigator. I think a lot of times there's things that go on behind the scenes that nobody ever gets to see. Everyone compartmentalizes it different or comes up with some form of therapy or stress relief to deal with it. But I think I can speak for everyone that obviously there is an impact. You get to know the victims. You learn so much about their history and their lives that it's like you knew them in life sometimes. And when you hear their families and friends talk about them and they really bring them to life for you, absolutely there's an impact. But I also think that impact then just spurs you on to fight even harder to make sure that we secure justice.
Another question? Yeah.
I believe the fact that those jurors unanimously found every aggravating factor speaks for itself in terms of its appropriateness, and I'll leave that at that. I don't think we're going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that today.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. What has it been like working with the victim's families and knowing that that's what people do today, and that they've noticed a lot of hardworking members, of this entire community?
We'll say something. Yeah, you say something else.
So I think Rob and I will both answer this one. Working with the victims' families, it can always be a bit of a challenge because you want to ensure that you're getting them information that they're entitled to and that you're taking into account their concerns, what they want to see happen with the case, and that their rights as victims are being upheld. In this particular case, I think the victims' families have been fantastic to work with. We've tried to make ourselves available, meet with them whenever they have questions, and keep them as informed as possible. I think you heard at times, sometimes unfortunately, they learned of things before we were able to reach out to them, and that can always be a challenge as well. But working with them, getting to know them, hearing the stories about their loved ones, hearing the good memories, hearing them bring the victim to life has been an incredible experience. I think we've enjoyed a good working relationship with all the victims in this case.
I second everything Lindsay just said, and I would also just say that these cases are hard. They're really hard to do, and the victims are just such a motivating factor, I think, for everybody involved, for law enforcement, for the prosecution office. Their dedication to their loved ones is so important, and we just really appreciate their patience with us, their willingness to work with us. They have been truly, to me, I think to Lindsay, to everybody, very inspirational. Ask that in a couple of years and we'll see.
I mean, it feels great. We worked as a team tirelessly for 4 years. Not just myself; it was a collaborative effort. I have a great team. We worked with several different agencies, so it's a team effort. But I think we're all feeling the exact same thing, which is just relief. We're glad it's done. We got justice for JJ, Tammy, and Tylee, so that's what counts. I would say hundreds. Yeah, hundreds of people, hundreds of hours. So it's a relief. Thank you.
We technically had 7 law enforcement agencies, not including the prosecutors, over 3 different states and maybe even more, but 7 law enforcement agencies. All right, anybody else? All right, thank you all so much. We really appreciate it. Thank you all for everything.
How awesome is that? They're all hugging. All that work, all 4.5 years. Imagine that. How awesome. Oh, and there's Charles. Hi, Charles, buddy. Justice for him is next. There's just a really, really tall guy just hugged Detective Hermosillo and it made him look like a toddler. Oh, we have Colby and Kay.
It's a weird feeling. You never wish harm on anybody, regardless of what they've done to you. But at the end of the day, it's good that he can't hurt anybody else, and that's what matters. So that's really my feelings on that. I can't say I was surprised. It felt like something that made sense, but I can't say that I feel good about it. But it does feel good to know that it feels like things are concluded, if that makes sense. It was hard. I didn't expect to have the reaction I did. I tried to just read through it. But when you're there and you're sitting there and he's right there, it just brought everything out that I've been feeling. It was really hard to say what I needed to, but a part of me feels a lot more healed, and spending time with everybody here, it feels like a healing I couldn't have imagined. If that makes any sense, but yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. I think the number one thing is focus on healing. I think this concludes this chapter of this part. We have to live with the fact that we're not going to have the people we love in our lives anymore. But I want to honor them by how I live, and at some point, I want to tell their stories and tell you guys who my family was, and honor them the best that I possibly can. I feel like through this whole process, it's hard because you're so up and down emotionally. I feel like I wanted to make them proud, and I feel like that I made them smile a couple of times. I would hope so. Thank you. It is good news. This is the best justice we can possibly get, and again, it doesn't change the outcome, but it is good news, and it brings closure for everybody that's been hurt. So that's the good news. Yeah, thank you guys.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, it's me, Aunt Vicki. Thank you so much for all of your wonderful coverage. My fear in all of this to begin with was that Tammy would be a little bit forgotten because, as we all know, finding 2 children brutally murdered in somebody's yard that you know and love is devastating. But finding out that Tammy was a victim as well. And I just, with all due respect to the kids, I couldn't imagine her being a little bit lost in the mix. So it was important for me as her aunt to be here. Her mom passed last year, and those were the last years of her life, knowing that her daughter had been murdered. So today is a sweet justice for us, for myself and my immediate family. There's just, it's hard to express. I was just talking to Larry, and we were talking about there's a little bit of sadness in us now because we've built a family together here, supporting our families. We love each other like family. Our relationship will never end. But we got justice for our loved ones, and that was always what this was about, getting justice for them. This wasn't about us. It wasn't about anything other than getting justice for those that we love. And the prosecution, the detectives, I can't say enough about them. I feel like they got a gift from those detectives. They worked so hard. They didn't count their hours. They were incredibly important to the effort that went on here. And I think that they gave it up to capable hands who were able at the end to present it to the people of the jury and have it all make sense, because it was a crazy, convoluted case. and with a lot of just crazy religious creations and different things. But we're going to be forever grateful to these people. They're amazing. Even the people that came out to court every day and would stand at 6 o'clock in the morning to try and get in and support our families and just be here. We're thankful to them. We felt their prayers. All of you who have been here from the beginning and just praying for our families, we feel that. So thank you to everybody. Thank you for Judge Boyce. That guy is amazing. We need people like him on the Supreme Court.
This is how AI optimizes my schedule. So I have a project coming up, so I start by listing the project and then setting a deadline. Every task manager does that, but here
It just cut out.
Sister. And we just wanted to thank everybody that was involved in this. We want to thank the law enforcement that did an absolute phenomenal job with what they did. Want to thank the special prosecution teams, the people that we have met. The hardest part I think about all of this is our family has lost a brother. But in the process of it, we've almost gained an entire family, and that can't be replaced. We've gained Tylee and JJ's family. We've just met a lot of wonderful people through this entire process. It's been a difficult one, but we appreciate your respect. We appreciate your help in getting this covered and getting this out there to the world. It's been a challenging trial, and there's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears put into this, and we really appreciate everybody's help. We do have a prepared statement that I want to go ahead and read at this time. This comes from the family. Go ahead and get to this. It just says that we want to thank everyone who put in the countless hours of work to get where we are today, the law enforcement, prosecution, the media, and all of you who watched, listened to the trial, and prayed for us. We are grateful for the relationships we've created through this horrible time, the support and love that we're able to give each other. And we also want to thank Aunt Vicky, who was here sitting in court almost every day when those of us weren't able to get here. That took a lot of strength from her to do that. We can all start to heal from this terrible loss we've suffered. We'll miss Tammy every single day of our lives, but we do have some comfort knowing that we will see her again someday. If you've been touched at all by Tammy and would like to support the foundation, we do have a foundation for her. It's the Tammy Douglas Daybell Foundation. It's been designed to put books in the hands of children and to increase literacy. So please consider donating to the Tammy Douglas Daybell Foundation. And we thank you guys for everything that you have done and all the support that you have given us as we try to pick up the pieces and move forward. So thank you very much.
I did want to personally just take a moment and thank everybody that was involved. First off, the prosecution team, who from the very beginning has just been incredible to work with and supporting our family. I also wanted to take time to say thank you to Judge Boyce for not just this trial, but for both trials, for everything that he did in his service. As a victim, we were given a chance to write our statements, and as we did so, we were limited by specific statutes, understandably so. But it makes it very difficult as a victim sometimes then for us to actually say the things that we wanted to say. I wanted to take a moment. There was some things that, as I was going back and forth with a part of our team, our wonderful victim impact coordinator, Paula, she helped me refine the statement, but ultimately I had to take this out because of, obviously, like I was saying, the statutes, but I wanted to take a moment and read this. It was a statement that was directed directly to the jury itself. To you, the jury, I wish I could easily say that everything I think or desire to say about Chad, or specifically the impact of his actions and to us impacted in the aftermath, was easy and clean. It's not. I'm not here to pontificate on who he was or may not be. I certainly have those opinions, and I'm entitled to them, but they have no bearing here in this setting with a decision that lays here before you. If I was still the man of God that I was even a few years ago, I'd easily know the words to offer you all in making what you feel is the appropriate decision. Instead, standing here, I'd say to all of you, may you find it in the universe, the earth, or whichever gods or goddesses you may offer prayers, meditations, or if you're agnostic or atheist, you find it in yourselves. To be true to yourselves and do what is right or just. I offer my sincere gratitude to you as a family member of a victim. Thank you for your time and your selfless sacrifice. I hope you all know how much it means to someone in our position. I always thought I understood and appreciated our legal system and the specific role the jury of our peers played until being put into this unique position. Truly, thank you. I hope that you all are able to get the necessary support and therapy that you may need to process what you've seen or heard. Living it for myself and for all of us who are victims. It has been burden enough. Please do not carry that burden for us on your heart. Thank you.
Okay, can everybody hear me? We got terrible noise behind us. I wish they'd have turned the fountain off. Everybody has spoken so eloquently.
Can y'all hear him?
As we were leaving the courthouse, the courtroom, Kay asked me, she said, "It's over." And I got sad. Justice has been carried out for everybody involved in this. What made me sad was are all of y'all. You're our family. We have gone through a tragedy, from the judge who's had to endure this every day, to our friends in law enforcement. We're now brothers. I have so much respect for y'all. For this courthouse, we saw justice, equal, honest, and righteous. I look at the faces, and I'm going to tell y'all, I'm going to miss you. Not because I want to be in front of this camera. I did not choose this. It chose us. I'm going to miss y'all. There's a few people. Lauren, Dr. John, how would we have made it without you? Janine, Clint, how they have carried us through this. They have been our eyes, our ears, and our hearts here. Rexburg is a beautiful town. Boise is a beautiful town. Idaho is a magnificent state. They don't deserve this blemish. Kay and I have often spoke. How would it have been different if we were in New York, if we were in California? How would it have been different? Every day, I want to get up. I want to be here for justice, but for y'all. Y'all have all given a lot. The media has been amazing, and I want to personally thank you. My wife, my beautiful wife, my rock. We thank you. I hate to say goodbye. I truly mean that. It's not goodbye. It's until we meet again. So, as I said a long time ago, turn out the lights. The party's over. They say that all good things must end. Let's just call it a night. Thank y'all.
I'm going to say a few things.
Go ahead. Now y'all will get a real speech.
No, just this will be short and sweet, I promise. I want to thank everyone here, everybody that's watching, all the support, the emails, the texts, the messages, all these things we get, social media. Everybody's support is how we have gotten through this. And, we're not through yet. So we're very grateful for all of you. And we really wouldn't have made it through this without y'all. And I want to thank y'all. And there was I know what? I'll see y'all in Arizona. That's where we'll be next. Y'all have a good day.
Whoo-wee. Arizona, here we come. Now, I think that's over now. The press conference. See you in Arizona. Now, I want to make sure I got everybody here. Sunny said. Emma's looking up the wind direction of Chad's bum. And there's Charles. We're going to Arizona, Charles. His timing is impeccable, don't you think? So, it's a good day for justice. It's a great day for justice. And Chad Daybell got what he deserved. Now, I'm wondering in the press conference earlier with Lindsay, and the prosecution team, I'm wondering if the question was about Arizona and they didn't say anything. I think that Chad's going to be facing some charges in Arizona. And we will get Chad's booking photo. Now, if you guys don't see it from me and you see it first, will you do me a favor and send me it? I would very much appreciate that as soon as he gets that in there. But it should be up soon. I'll have to take notice on that. I want to thank all of you guys for hanging out here. I want to definitely thank the moderators who have kept this community safe from the trolls. We believe Emma's come on a time or two. Let's just say that. But 99.9%, it's been amazing in here. And I very much appreciate you. I'm looking forward to doing more videos. I'm looking forward to doing more trials with you and live streams. Let's keep booking those. We'll book the live streams. They may be different times. I have a troll patrol. I love that, troll patrol. Thank you to everybody who has donated to the channel, who has given memberships to others. Thank you so much. I wouldn't want to do anything else. So, and you guys we've all formed a little family ship, especially the last 8 weeks, laughing every day, doing some jokes, talking about John Pryor and his lapidity, and Zaluma-ing in, and Cholo was the new one. No, he called him, and John called Tammy Chammy. So there's lots going on. And it's just so good. I just want you guys to give extra love to everybody, especially today. I gave some love extra to my own family, but I want to give you guys some extra love as well. Super awesome. I don't know what I'm going to do without you guys. So Chad Daybell, death penalty for him, plus the 15 years for insurance fraud, not once but twice. Check out my other videos. There'll be others as well. I am planning some other videos in June this month that are non-Chad Daybell related or Daybell related. There will be a few that are still, there's a couple pieces from the trial I still need to, what's the word? Reconcile before I let this go to rest. But for the most part, now I did see a comment about something about Garth yesterday near the fire pit. I'd love to know more about that. If you could email me that, I'd very much appreciate it. And I was shocked too. The judge didn't say anything, but I guess the death penalty says it all. Thank you. I'm sad to not be here with you guys for 8 hours a day. Look at that. You guys are giving love to each other. Very, very happy to be here with you guys. Matt Man's in the house. Haven't seen you in a long time. Yeah, I'm glad he's getting it too. Garth was on the lookout for the raccoon. So today, give yourselves a little love. And I know this afternoon, I can't believe how fast it went this morning. We've been going for 3 hours already. So I'm going to do some reflecting today. I got to do some cleaning today. And I'm going to get outside, which is necessary. So August 1st is the next trial. There might be preliminary, probably not for Corey Richens because that got pushed out, but we're going to do that. And I'll do more court hearings as well on this channel. So we'll gather together, chat about Koberger, chat about Corey Richens, chat about Delphi, whatever we can do, okay? And lemon drop martinis to celebrate. In the meantime, a way to stay connected with this channel is to watch my videos. That'll give good juju to the algorithm and not toss me off like they did the last year and a half. It's been a little bit of a struggle, I'm not going to lie. So we are going to work hard and bring you more awesome content. And my editor's back from doing her movie sets. And so now I'm going to have time to dive into all kinds of coverage, and we'll sprinkle. Awesome. If you have any ideas too, you're welcome to let me know. And like message me or comment on the videos as well. And we'll stay in touch, okay? So unless there's anything else crazy that's happening in this case to go live, but I'm going to think about how I can keep this live streaming going, once a week, something like that. We'll do it during the day. I don't know. I'll figure out something because I need to stay connected to you guys as much as you need it. I also need it. I love it. So nothing about Chad is intimidating. He's an overgrown man-child. He's such a man-child. Totally agree. I do have a Suzanne Morphew list. Check that out because Bear is coming next. Love you guys too. Now I want to make sure thank you, Lori Sutherland, for the super sticker. Thank you so much. Make sure I have everybody. Thank you. All right, go have fun. Rebecca, thank you. Go have fun today. I'm going to go and woo-saw it out. We got this, and have a great weekend. Love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye. Okay? Don't let the Lepidiots get to you. Bye.